on the play. Uh, he, it looks like he won the first game, lost the second, and now here he is on the play. Both players resolved their mulligans already. I believe they probably kept their opening 7, and we're going to see a sack of a Verdant Catacombs. You can get a basic swamp, trying to play around Wasteland. He did the same thing in the Swiss, and it looks like he might lead with. He's either going to lead with a Thoughtseize, or Cory did mulligan to 6. We're hearing from the floor, so let's see if he has a Deathrite Shaman. Deathrite Shaman is the ideal card for the Jund deck. Thoughtseize or Inquisition or Kozilek will be okay. The worst thing here would be if he just had main phase sack to play around Stifle and no play on turn 1.
Yeah, well, I mean, as long as his land doesn't die, he gets a basic, so it doesn't lose the Wasteland either.
And it looks like that's exactly what it was. It was a main phase sack to make sure his land doesn't get stifled here.
Now, as you had mentioned at the top, Cory Teran has already defeated Shahar Shenhar once in this tournament. That's actually how he was able to make it into the top 8.
Yep, yeah, that was his win it in, and he was able to beat Shahar in round 8 and then draw in round 9 to make it here into the top 8. Shahar had to win his last round and then sweat it in, coming in as the 8th seed.
Yeah, barely made it.
Barely made it. And let's see here. Shahar has a Ponder, and there's that True Name Nemesis. Shahar has 1 copy of True Name Nemesis. He boarded it in the Swiss as well. It didn't really do much for him either game when he had it, but still one of these cards that he feels is very good against Jund.
I mean, Jund is kind of interesting because it is an incredibly fair deck, obviously. He's not doing anything broken. It's just playing in kind of normal Magic, but doing it on steroids because it has a lot of 2-for-1s and incredibly efficient, powerful cards. But it's one deck that's actually pretty good against True Nemesis. They have Liliana, and they have access to cards like Diabolic Idiot and Golgari Charm, and just a lot of good sideboard options to be able to take care of the 3-1 that gets protection from pretty much everything.
Yeah, and the real difficult thing about True Name Nemesis when you're playing Rug is that you don't often get to 3 mana. I mean, you only have 18 lands. 4 of those lands are Wastelands, which you're going to be using aggressively sometimes. Plus, your opponent could also be playing Wasteland, so it's very difficult for the deck to get to 3 mana at times. So that card could be stranded in your hand. So very rarely do you ever see a Rug Delver list have anything that costs more than 2 mana in their deck.
Yeah, oftentimes in the sideboard, I know just from covering matches for a while now, sometimes in the sideboard you would see like 1 Vendilion Click, 1 Sulfuric Vortex, sometimes,
Sulfur Elementals,
yeah,
another
1
card.
or 2 Sulfur Elementals, but that is it. Their 3 drops that they would have would be incredibly high impact sideboard cards. True Nemesis does certainly qualify as being a very high-impact sideboard card, but that's not a card that they can afford to play 4 of because, as you mentioned, they just don't consistently get the 3 mana.
Yeah, and the other problem with True Name Nemesis is, on its own, it's okay. It's usually a really efficient blocker, but when you don't have equipment to go along with it, a lot of times you just can't attack with it. So there are times where, okay, I can't attack you, but I'll just continue building up my board presence, and eventually I'll get to a point where I'm not going to care anymore about it.
And speaking of Diabolic Edict, you see Teran has one of those in his hand. He's going to play a Dark Confidant. Okay. Open that up for a Daze or a Force Will, but I don't expect Force Will to be in Shenhar's deck.
I don't know. He had it in the Swiss. I told him it was bad afterwards, and I think other people kind of agreed with me, but let's see. It doesn't look like he has it, but he does have a Fire Ice, which can take out that Dark Confidant.
And as we did say when we were doing our bracket breakdown, Shahar has said, I learned some things after losing to him the first time. And like we said, the last time Shahar said he learned some things, he beat Reed Duke in the World Championship Final.
That's right. And things looking pretty good for Shahar here. Not only did Cory have to mulligan this game, he's going to be able to deal with the Dark Confidant, and he has that 1 of True Name Nemesis in his hand, along with 2 more lands. So, barring multiple Wastelands from Cory in the next few turns, it looks like that True Name Nemesis will not only enter play, but it'll enter play in a good position to start beating down. Unfortunately for Shahar, Cory does have the Diabolic Edict. So, one of the few answers to True Name Nemesis. Let's see how that plays out over the next few turns.
One of the things I like about the Jund deck, however, especially in this matchup, is pretty much every card they're going to cast, the Rogue Delver deck has to answer in a timely fashion. Be it Tarmogoyf, be it Bloodbraid Elf, be it Liliana the Veil, Dark Confidant. Most of the cards that they cast, you have to have an answer for it right away or it gets ugly. As here's another copy of Dark Confidant.
Yeah, and this is how Jund loses. It's so mana hungry, and it really doesn't run that many lands. It runs 24, and it feels like a lot, but 4 of them are Wastelands. And again, you are facing down other decks that play Wastelands and Stifles. Even though Shahar didn't have any of these this game, Cory is just getting a little mana screwed right here.
Brainstorm is going to draw Shahar Nimble Mongoose, an additional Brainstorm, and a Lightning Bolt.
Wow. So Shahar draws another answer to the second Dark Confidant, and Cory just can't find a way to get a little card advantage here to regain some momentum.
Heaven forbid a Wasteland shows up for Shenhar. Things get really ugly. That Badland goes bye-bye along with the Dark Confidant, and then Cory's going to have to start drawing a bunch of lands to be able to get back into the game.
Yeah, I guess Cory should be grateful that the brainstorm didn't reveal Bolt and Wasteland.
Yeah, yeah.
That would have been much worse. So it looks like we're going to see Shahar can get rid of a couple of those lands if he chooses. He can play a land, sack it, play a Nimble Mongoose, and then bolt the Dark Confidant. So
Quick update from the floor. Ricky Sitter starts the game's Los Angeles Legacy Open champion. He defeats Eric Cabanero 2-0. So Blood Moons, he can get by those. Defeats Imperial Painter in 2 games. Doesn't even get one, does the Imperial Painter player. He's going to play the winner of this match between Teran and Shenhar. And if you guys don't know, Sitter and Shenhar, they're really good friends from the same area.
yeah, and they're playing the same deck. So we have 2 Rug Delver decks moving on to the top 4. Are we going to have a third here? Let's see. Shahar Shenhar looking pretty good so far. Cory Teran mulligan to 6, and now he's stalled on 2 land. Shahar is going to keep pressing the advantage. He's going to play a Nimble Mongoose here, and this is great for him because if Cory does use the Diabolic Edict on the Nimble Mongoose, then that means that True Name Nemesis is more likely to survive next turn.
If you've come to watch Delver of Secrets, you've come to the right place.
Yeah, you've come to the right place. We got plenty of it for you.
That's right. And to watch you open Errant Ephemerons.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up again.
So Nimble Mongoose is going to come into play. It is 1 card away from Threshold right now. You see the 6 in the graveyard for Shenhar. Going to give the deck over to Teran, let him shuffle it up, and we'll see what Cory can find. I think most importantly, he's got to find a land right now.
Yeah, land. He might have a Liliana of the Veil. If he gets a land and he does have a Liliana of the Veil in the hand, then things are looking great. Unfortunately, he drew a 4-drop in Bloodbraid Elf, so really devastating here. Still not terrible. If I can't make out his hand, if he has a Liliana and he can draw a 3rd land next turn, then that means then True Name Nemesis could still die if it does come into play. But let's see what Shahar wants to do this turn.
I really think that Shahar is going to try to aggressively find a Wasteland this turn. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he leads off with a Brainstorm. He does have the fetch land, too. Now, of course, I'm no Rug Delver master by any means, but, I mean, a Wasteland pretty much seals this one up, it feels like.
I kind of like just playing Tarmogoyf Delver, to be honest with you.
Okay.
You can go Tarmogoyf Delver land, and then Brainstorm to make sure your Delver flips, and then you can search for a card. But it looks like he's going to Brainstorm first.
2, 3, no Wasteland.
And there's that Force of Will.
Yeah. I wonder
Force
how
of
many
Will
left
great
in.
now. Now
Yeah,
that he's so far
yeah.
ahead, it's actually pretty good. So now I could see him playing the True Name Nemesis if he wants to. But I still like getting the Tarmogoyf and the Delver out there because it's just more power.
Yeah, just have a couple threats.
Yeah, just get a couple of threats out there. There's really no he can play the Volcanic Island. So if he wants to keep those cards, he won't lose them. But yeah, I kind of just like getting that power out there. And he's even putting the True Name Nemesis on top of his library. So it looks like he's thinking about getting both those creatures out there too. But he wants to make sure the Ponder's on top so it will flip the Delver. So smart move there. Shahar figured out the code. And now we're going to see a Delver and a Tarmogoyf come into play. And he still has Force of Will backup. You can pitch the True Name Nemesis.
We'll get the Tarmogoyf die out on the screen for you guys just to see how big the Lurigoyf is, as Cory's going to draw a card. I do not
It's
think...
a Grove.
Ooh, it is a Grove. Okay, I didn't think it was a land, but it's that funky, I think, from the Vaults Grove.
Yeah, so Grove of the Burnwell is here. Shahar has a Ponder on top of his deck. He also has a True Name Nemesis and a Force of Will in his hand. So let's see how Cory's going to proceed here now that he finally drew his 3rd mana source. He's certainly not out of this. The fact that he has multiple Bloodbraid Elves in his hand, if there's ever a card that can draw you out of a situation, it's Bloodbraid Elf. I think his best situation here is if he leads with a Liliana of the Veil and Shahar pitches that True Name Nemesis to counter it.
Yep.
That would be step 1. You don't want to have to deal with a True Name Nemesis.
There'll be a lot of steps to get back into this game because that Tarmogoyf is starting to breathe down Cory's neck. Gets a 4/5 Delver. Likely to flip next turn. That means that's going to be a 3/2 flyer. And what that means is he's going to be attacking for 7. And that's a lot. That's a fast clock, especially when you know your opponent has bolts in their deck.
Yeah, and even Liliana's probably not really a good play here because Shahar probably just lets it resolve, sacks his Delver of Secrets, and then it just it kills the Liliana with the Tarmogoyf. Then he can play a True Name Nemesis and still have Force of Will backup. So, yeah, Cory's in a tight spot here. Not sure what... He has a Pyroblast in his hand. So he can deal with the Delver secrets right now.
Looks like he's going to do. And it's tough because, this is what makes Rogue Delver so good, right? Because you've got Liliana and you're just like, I kind of want to cast that and get that out there. But at the same time, do you want to open yourself to getting dazed?
Yeah.
Not really. You don't want to turn on Daze, but it's almost like you don't have a choice. And when Rogue Delver gets in situations like this where they deny your mana or you stumble a little bit just on your own accord because your draws didn't cooperate, then Daze becomes great, and that's when Rogue Delver becomes great. As you see Delver flip an Insectile Aberration revealing a Ponder. Now Shenhar's hand is going to be a Ponder, a Force of Will, and that True Name Nemesis that you mentioned. And I think we're going to see that Pyroblast now, targeting the Insectile Aberration. Does Shenhar care about this? I don't think he does.
I think he's okay with letting that die, hitting Cory for 4, and then just playing True Name Nemesis and you having Ponder Force of Will in hand. He can't. I don't think he wants to cast a Ponder because he wants to make sure he has a blue card in his hand.
Yep.
So, yep, he's just going to replace 1/3/2 with a 3/1 Progenitus, mini Progenitus.
Protection from fun.
So he still has a 2-turn clock on Cory with a Force of Will in his hand along with a blue card to pitch to it. So Cory did draw a 4th land here, so we're going to see a Bloodbraid Elf. So let's see what he can cascade into.
Hey, well, if there's one way you can catch back up in a game, it's Bloodbraid Elf. Spin that Cascade Wheel.
Yeah, thanks for stealing my line. I just said that like a minute ago. But yeah, I agree with you. So Cory's going to activate Grove Burn Wells for green, giving Shahar 1 life, and Bloodray's going to come into play here. And perfect! Abrupt Decay can take out Tarmogoyf, and that cannot be countered by Force of Will.
Yep. Touchdown.
So he still has to figure out a way to get that Liliana the Veil into play so he can deal with the True Name Nemesis, but at least he dealt with the Tarmogoyf with the Bloodbraid Elf. So
I was going to say he gets to attack for 3/2, but then I stopped myself.
Nope, that mini mode is in play. So again, Bloodbraid Elf can turn things around, and he's got a 2nd in his hand. So if Shahar tries to race here, he can drop Cory to 10, thinking he's okay, but all of a sudden, Cory's going to be attacking for 6 next turn potentially. Let's see what he hits with off that 2nd Cascade.
This could also get super ugly because if he draws a card like a Thoughtseize or something like that, like a discard spell, he can clear the way for Liliana.
Oh, well, he's got a Pyroblast. No, he drew a Pyroblast. That's
okay,
perfect.
yeah, that's what I thought.
That is perfect. That is a perfect draw for him because he didn't have triple black for the Thoughtseize Liliana play, but he does have 2 red, 2 black.
And Shahar's going to hard cast a Force of Will, and that's going to get Pyroblasted. True Name Nemesis is going to go bye-bye. Now, all of a sudden, doing running lands, the Jund player is back in this bad boy.
Despite having only 2 lands in play for a number of turns, Cory was able to deal with not only a Nimble Mongoose, a Delver of Secrets, and a Tarmogoyf, but now it appears like he's going to be able to deal with the True Name Nemesis as well. So, really unbelievable turn of events here for Cory Teran.
Oh, look, he's going to shuffle the deck before showing the Pyroblast. I like it.
The slow roll.
Yes.
What a slow roll. What a delicate shuffle there. Of course, here I present you back the deck now, and here's the Pyroblast. I mean, he might be a little afraid of Daze, in all fairness. He might be a little afraid of Daze.
True.
But we know that Pyroblast will resolve, and Liliana will enter play. And he'll immediately down take it, get rid of that True Name Nemesis, and now Bloodbraid Elf comes in, dropping Shahar to 16. So quite the turn of events, and he still has that Bloodbraid Elf in his hand.
Well, that Ponder had better be good as it draws a Daze.
And there's a Daze. That's, wow, there's the Daze.
It's a little late for the world champ. He's going to have to Ponder. He's going to have to do it well. He sees a Ponder, you see a Wasteland that he was looking for ages ago, and a Stifle, and now all of these cards, this has got to be a shuffle, right? Because these cards are too late to the party now.
Yeah, he has to shuffle, I think.
All right, no, keep the Ponder. Okay.
Keep the Ponder.
So he's going to re-go again, basically.
Go one card deeper. Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter. I mean, you don't need that much mana. The only reason you don't do it is if you want to conserve your mana.
Wasteland, Wasteland, Stifle.
That has to be a shuffle. I think you need a Tarmogoyf here or Fire Ice. Some way to get that Liliana off the table.
Oh, you see a deep breath there from Shahar, how this game has turned. He was in the driver's seat. Now, I don't think he did anything wrong.
No, it's, he drew a lot of land, which might be part of the problem. Generally, the Rug Delver deck wants 3 lands, and it wants to stop from there.
Yeah.
And there were some, and he did cast a lot of Ponders, Brainstorms, but yeah, I agree with you. There's a point where his hand just looks so loaded that I'm surprised as well at how quickly this game turned around. But again, we had timely land for Cory. The Bloodbraid Elf helped him get that Abrupt Decay, and then a top deck Pyroblast. All of a sudden, things just change dramatically.
Now here's a fork pull for Shenhar. The question, of course, is does he kill the Bloodbraid Elf, or does he go after the Liliana? I think he
Yeah,
goes after the Planeswalker,
I think
right?
he has to go with the Planeswalker. Liliana of the Veil is just too important in this matchup. It's going to just keep stripping Shahar's hand, and then if he ever does draw a creature, it'll die to it. So let's see, is the second Bloodbraid Elf going to enter play here?
That's what I was wondering. Against an open board, do you just slam this down? I think you do, because I think you just want to cut the turns.
It's a clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, we could flip perfect. It's not impossible.
And he has a mana up to play around the days. That's in Shahar's hand. If he hits a Liliana here, it's just absolutely backbreaking. But even a Tarmogoyf.
That'll work.
Deathright's good enough. It'll further add to the clock. So as long as it wasn't abrupt decay, that's basically the thing he was hoping to dodge the most. So
all right.
both Bloodbraids are now going to enter the red zone, dropping Shahar to 13 now.
So here's the big question, as there's a Tarmogoyf off the top. All right, so now he's got a fighter. Does Shenhar have access to Rough Tumble? He has one in his sideboard. Did he bring it in? If he did, it's going to be amazing in this game.
Yeah, I don't know if you'd bring it in just because.
It kills so much stuff.
Yeah, that's true. It does kill. Yeah, I could see it bringing it in. Kills Dark Confidant, kills Deathrite Shaman, obviously kills Bloodbraid Elf as well. So, yeah, a top deck to Rough and Tumble would be pretty backbreaking here. But Shahar has one card in his hand. It's just that Daze, and now we're going to see Inquisition of Coast like that. It will take the Daze. Maybe
cast it.
He might cast it. He might return a land to his hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if he draws a Brainstorm.
Yep, I like that. Gotta cast that.
And I don't think Cory has a good attack here. Shahar is at 10. But if you drop him to 7. So, yeah, I think you have to pass first, get another activation off Deathrite Shaman before you can start attacking it.
Boy, this game is close. Both players sitting at 10, but an active Deathrite Shaman out there. Flooded Strand the draw there for Shenhar. Don't think he can afford to attack.
Yeah, he definitely can't attack because he'll be dead from the attack back plus double activation of Deathrite.
You get an activation down to 8, attack for 6 down to 2. Okay, yeah, so definitely can't attack here. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, he just has to say go.
Yeah, with 2 lands in his hand, not much to do here. Cory activates Deathrite Shaman, going to remove one of the instants in the graveyard or sorceries. Surprised he went after his own, but drops Shahar down to 8 now.
Yeah, I guess you want to go towards there just because they have no Mongoose in their deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not sure it's going to matter, but Cory, not sure he can attack just yet either. Probably just going to have to be content by passing back and having Deathrite do the heavy lifting for the next few turns.
You got to imagine Cory's pretty nervous in this situation, too. I mean, yeah, he beat Shahar once in the Swiss to be on the top 8, but playing against the world champion right now in the elimination rounds.
Oh, yeah.
And he knows he's made a really, really nice comeback here. He wants to take this one home. Yeah,
that's the thing. It's one thing when you kind of resign yourself to losing. Oh, I got mana screwed. Oh, but then all of a sudden you start to feel yourself turn the corner, and now you're kind of in a firm grip of winning this game and beating the world champion. You want to make sure you just don't make any mistakes. And there's still a lot of decisions left to be made, but he did draw Tarmogoyf, so that is certainly going to make things a lot easier for Cory. And now he can just pass here and hope that Shahar bricks one more time, which he does. Now he has 3 lands in his hand.
He's going to play that Volcanic Island that Cory doesn't know about. Cory's going to activate Deathrite Shaman on the end step again. He's going to put Shenhar down to 6, remove the Daze.
Yeah, and now Cory's free to attack with all his creatures. If he does have a Submerge, then that's fine. You're still likely going to die pretty soon anyway. So I think he just attacks with Bloodbraid Elves and Tarmogoyfs here.
I think he may have drawn Liliana of the Veil just to make it even easier. He
did. Yeah, why not?
Planeswalker at the top, make you sacrifice. Bye-bye Tarmogoyf. Shenhar's going to make him tag everything, and that is it. So the number 1 seed, Cory Teran, is going to win this match over the world champion Shahar Shenhar. 2-1. We thought we'd have a triple rug semifinals, but it's going to be one Jund deck still chugging